Chapter 5. December. I'm getting ready to go to the market when I hear a car coming up the lane. To my surprise, a large black sedan parks in the yard. When I see a large gray-haired figure emerge from the driver's seat, I realize it's Yves Malterre. To be honest, more than 1 month after the cocktail party, I've given up waiting for him. He waves to me, goes around the car, takes a big file from the passenger seat and walks in my direction. He brandishes the file like a trophy. Good morning, Daphne. As you can see, my daughter and I have been working very hard. Listen, Yves, I was just going out. I promise you this won't take long. We've cooked up a very attractive offer for you, so you'll see. Alright, you've got 2 minutes to convince me. You won't regret it. The financial step is very interesting, you'll see. He rummages around in the file, balanced precariously on his knee. Out of the corner of my eye, I see Mr. Bertine walking up the lane, a rifle in his hand. Hello, Miss Daphne? Mr. Malterre. He stands at my side, gun in hand, as if ready to use it. Are you alright? I hope Mr. Malterre isn't bothering you. Listen, Gerard, I was just chatting with Miss Delatour. Would you mind giving us some privacy, please? Mr. Malterre We hear a car coming up the lane and direct our attention to the entrance of the yard. Mom. A small intercaller drives in and parks near the front door. A tall, middle-aged woman climbs out of the car and walks towards us with an assured pace. Mom? I can see it's high time I got here. Looking at Yves Malterre, she says, Hello, Daphne. Gerard? Yes, madam. Please fire a warning shot, will you? Mr. Bertine looks at me, waiting for a confirmation. As I don't react, he complies and fires into the air. His smile gone, Yves watches my mother warily. Look, Sophie, be reasonable, would you? We haven't seen each other in 30 years. Do you really want? Completely ignoring Yves Malterre, my mother turns to Mr. Bertine. Gerard? Yes, madam. I authorize you to fire the second shot at Yves if he hasn't left the property within 30 seconds. Very well, madam. Then please take my luggage up to the yellow bedroom in the west wing. Of course, madam. Oh, and send Gilberte over, please. I'd like her to make us a coffee. I need to talk to my daughter. I follow Mom into the living room. A few seconds later, we hear tires squeal in the courtyard. Then the sound of the engine fades into the distance. Did you get my letter? Yes, but in September. And as you can see, I'd already accepted the inheritance. But I don't understand. Why did you warn me? Are you kidding? I arrived here to find Yves Malterre in the courtyard and you're asking me why I warned you? I came back as fast as I possibly could, but it seems it was already too late. What were you doing in Asia? When you got your scholarship and your life was on track, you have to worry about your future any longer, so I decided to go back to school. I'd had enough of going from one crappy job to another, so I took a correspondence course on international trade. 3 years ago, I was hired by an investment bank. They offered me a promotion, but I had to move to Hong Kong. Since it got your ties with me, I thought you were safe, at least safe from these family issues, so I agreed to go. How could I have known your grandmother would pull this trick on me? Even from her grave, she's still a nuisance. I sent you the letter as soon as I heard your grandmother was dead. The family notary contacted me about it, out of courtesy. I wanted to take a leave of absence, but I was working on a big deal and my boss insisted that I stay until we signed. Obviously, it took a lot longer than I would have liked. Something doesn't add up. You were the direct heiress. So you should have been the one to succeed, shouldn't you? Your grandmother made me sign a paper stipulating that I renounce the inheritance when I left the village. I thought it would protect you too, but I'm not a lawyer, and knowing your grandmother, she must have found a way to bend the law to her liking. Knowing her, she would have guessed it would happen that way. You'll have to explain. Grandmother seems to have planned everything to make sure I got the house, but you're telling me I should have refused the inheritance? I know there are strange things going on here, and his quarrel with the Malterres, but don't you think I had the right to know my origins? I don't think you grasped the gravity of the situation. Until now, Yves didn't know you existed. Now he knows who you are, and that changes everything. Tell me then, why did you cut me off from the rest of the family? Why did you put so much effort into keeping me in the dark? Fine, listen to me carefully and be honest with me, can you? I nod in agreement. You have been having strange dreams. Yes, I've been having a recurring dream about a sphinx and a kind of creature. Knew it. But she cuts me off before I can continue. Have there been strange accidents since you arrived here? Yes, that's happened. But how could I have known I was capable of that? It's worse than I thought. No one told me. She waves her hand at me, impatient at my excuses. Another thing, have you found the entrance to the tower? No, I haven't. And no one was able to tell me where it was. Good. What do you think is inside? The tower is built on a kind of vortex of magical energy, right? In fact, it's built on the old place of worship, and more importantly, it contains the archives. Archives? Well, yes, I don't know what you imagine, but the reality is certainly far less exciting than your very active imagination. I hadn't noticed her entrance, but Mrs. Boutine is here with some coffee for us. Gilbert? Yes, madam. Tell Gerard to come to the basement. Very well, madam. Will that be all? No, tell him to bring a pickaxe, please. We follow Mom to the basement. We go through the wine cellar, then we take a corridor. We go through one small room, then another filled with stacked up old furniture. An old tapestry depicting a hunt almost entirely covers the wall in front of us. I don't remember finding this room during my expeditions to search for the tower entrance. Do you feel it? I move closer to the wall, wondering what my mother is getting at. And I do. I feel an almost imperceptible vibration that sends a prickle of goosebumps across my skin. Yes. Some sort of... The words dry up in my mouth as I turn toward my mother and read a profound sadness in her gaze. Just as I'm about to speak again, we hear a noise from behind us. Here comes Gerard. Gerard, can you take down the tapestry, please? Mr. Boutine complies, and I hurry to help him. Let Gerard do it, Daphne. You'll get dirty. Mom, you're pushing it. Mr. Boutine is not your slave. Yes, you're right. I've hardly arrived here and I'm back to my old ways. I left everything behind so that you wouldn't be raised with these horrendous values. Excuse me, Gerard. I'll be more considerate. My Gilbert and I are happy to lend a hand, and we're not doing it for you, but for your daughter. Just don't forget we're retired. We're not as strong as we were. We moved the tapestry to the other side of the room, Mom and I on one side, Mr. Boutine on the other. Could you break the wall here, Gerard? She points to a spot in the middle of the wall. There are some planks behind the plaster. It shouldn't give you much resistance. A few minutes later, the planks that hid the entrance to the tower have been torn away, revealing a wooden door. Wow, I never would have guessed the door was there. Mom opens the drawer of a nearby cupboard and takes out a large, ornate key. You want to see what's inside, Gerard? Oh, no, madame. I have plenty of time to look later. You must have a lot to discuss with your daughter. I'll head back to the lodge if you don't need a man along. Of course, thank you, Gerard. Mr. Boutine gives us a nod. Oh, and Gerard? Yes? Thank you for taking care of Daphne in my absence. We enter the tower, and after climbing a flight of wooden stairs, we come to a large room plunged in shadow. Mom takes a candelabra from a table and lights the candles with the matches that have been left next to it. Then she proceeds to light the other candles around the room until a soft light gradually illuminates the large circular space. The floor is made of huge granite stone carved with interlacing geometric shapes. The Celtic origins are obvious in the patterns used and the way the ornamentation has been done, but they are very well preserved in contrast to most ancient ruins exposed to centuries of bad weather. The walls are covered with shelves loaded with documents, books, leather covers, and scrolls rolled upon themselves. We are silent for a while, and Mom says, "This is your inheritance, Daphne." "But are all these books?" "This is the memory of the village. The most ancient ones were written by our ancestors 1,000 years ago. The tower is built on the side of the old place of worship because there seems to be some kind of magnetic field that helps preserve them." "Yes. Feels like this place is special. There's a strange quality in the air here. Is that why there's almost no dust and no moisture?" "Exactly. You're on the site of an ancient place of pilgrimage, a place where they performed the miracles. When the country was colonized and the inhabitants were forced to convert to the new religion, the region closed in upon itself. Our ancestors built a tower and began to compile all the oral knowledge of the old times. Delatour, the order of the priestesses, welcomed the representatives of the other cults. They came from everywhere, escaping persecution and doing what they could to ensure that their knowledge wasn't lost. To sum it up, you are in one of the largest libraries of occult knowledge in the world." We return in silence to the living room. The atmosphere is oppressive. I can feel what just happened will have a huge impact on my future. Mom takes an armchair. I sit on the sofa. "Do you understand why Yves Malterre must not, at any price, get into the tower? He already has the whole village under his thumb without having access to the archives. I don't know what he might be capable of if he could tap into all that knowledge contained in the tower." "Exactly. For generations and generations, the Delatours have refused the Malterres access to the tower, and for good reason. But until now, it's been a losing battle. It's been several generations since the Delatour has been able to perform the miracles. That's why I left. I didn't want you to live in this perpetual conflict." "Why do you think I could change things?" "Deep down inside, I've always known you were different. Tried to protect you as much as I could. I didn't want you to carry this burden. If we'd say it in the village, your grandmother would have raised you as if you were the Messiah. I wanted you to be able to choose your own path. Now I'm aware of my responsibilities. I can't run away from them. I must protect the village from the Malterre or any other threat. Do you really realize you'd be committing yourself to life as a priestess?" "I do, but as you said, it's my destiny." My mother's pride is almost palpable. "You're starting down a lonely, difficult path, and I'll do my best to help you. But enough about all that. Tell me about your life, about everything I've missed." Mom and I stay there for a long while, chatting in the living room. Then I go to pick up some groceries at the market and we prepare dinner together, both of us enjoying this renewed affinity. A couple of days later, I'm at the bakery getting some bread. Just as I've paid and I'm leaving, I find myself face to face with Solène Malterre and her son. There's a moment of surprise, and then just as I'm about to greet her, she lets loose a torrent of yelling. "Oh, well done, I'm glad I bumped into you. I've had the chance to congratulate you on the classy way you welcomed my father. I tried to be nice, I even agreed to have coffee with you despite the reputation of the Delatour. And 2 weeks later, you greet my father with a rifle? You're lucky my son's here, alright?" I'm sorry, but your father didn't choose the ideal moment." "Oh, sure, it's because of Sophie, right? Like mother, like daughter. I don't even know why I'm surprised." Look, Solène, I'm sorry Yves made you do all that work on the file, but I never asked him to make me any offers. You're right, I keep forgetting you're just a school teacher. It's not as if you knew the meaning of hard work. Speaking of which, I have to go. Personally, I've got work to do. She turns away. Her attitude hurts, especially the way her father has manipulated her. What a shame. When I get back to the castle, I find Mom reading on the sofa. I tell her about my confrontation with Solène Malterre and how unfair I thought she'd be in treating me like that. Then I tell her I'm going out to get some air, that I need to think to calm down. Out of the blue, she takes me in her arms and holds me tight. I enjoy the moment of affection so rare from her. I can tell she feels bad for me, for the burden I've decided to carry and the unjust enmity of the Malterres that I have to cope with. I put on a scarf and a coat. It's frosty outside, biting yet invigorating. Beautiful, sunny winter day, which makes a change from the fog and showers we put up with all through November. I wander through the forest. I'm lost in thought and realize my feet have brought me to a small clearing with an oval pool at the center. I shiver. Has the temperature dropped? The snow is falling again. I realize the day is dying. The last rays of sunlight are disappearing behind the treetops. I know I should turn around, go back to the castle before it's too dark to see. Am I dreaming? I can't look away from the pool. I draw closer and closer until, without noticing, I'm in the water. The icy cold pierces my feet like 1,000 needles. The pain seems almost unreal, as if I was in a dream. I go a little further. I know it's a bad idea, but I can't stop myself. The water is up to my knees. I look at my reflection in the pool, but there's nothing strange about this Daphne. White as a sheet, sending a feverish stare back at me from the surface of the pool. Then suddenly, I'm overwhelmed by the void. The biting liquid cold engulfs me. For a while, the darkness is complete. I'm in some kind of downy cocoon. The heat and the scent of a wood fire flood my senses. I hear distant voices, but I'm unable to move. I was lucky I found her there. If I hadn't gone hunting. Think her back, Gerard. I've been worried sick. She left 3 hours ago with the night. Madame Sophie, come here. I think she's waking up. You gave us quite a scare. What happened? I was walking out, just turning for home, and Gerard found you in the forest. You were unconscious and you had fallen into freezing water. We were lucky to find you so quickly. Next to my mom, I see a mustached man in a suit. He snaps his briefcase closed and says, well, I'll be going, Mrs. Delatour. If you don't mind, you've been very lucky. It could have been much worse. Thank you for coming so fast, Dr. Zakarian. As for her knee, it's fractured kneecap. There's nothing to do but wait for it to heal. She mustn't overuse it, but it may take several months. She'll certainly have some trouble walking. I'll go get her grandmother's walking stick from the hall. 2 or 3 days of complete rest and she should be back on her feet. Here, I've signed you a sick note for work. Thank you, doctor. I gradually realize that they're talking about me. I'm in the living room. There's a blazing fire in the fireplace. I'm wrapped up in a heavy mohair blanket. I sit back on the sofa. When I put a foot on the ground to stand up, I feel a dull ache down my right leg. Careful, miss. You'll hurt yourself, the doctor said. You had to rest. With a superhuman effort, I managed to blurt out, I think I will stay on the sofa. I lie down again and instantly fall into a dreamless sleep. When I come back to my senses, the fire is almost out, save a few little glowing cinders at the back of the fireplace. The cold light of early morning comes through the window. Mrs. Bertini is asleep in an armchair opposite me, wrapped up in a blanket. I hear noises from the kitchen. I put my feet on the ground. I can still feel the dull pain as I try to get up. A walking stick with a finely worked brass pommel has been placed next to me. Leaning on it, I manage to drag myself to the kitchen. Mommy's making herself a coffee, her back turned. Mom? Daphne, you shouldn't be... She stops, and I read a sudden red in her eyes. Daphne, your hair. I turn sideways to look into the mirror above the chest in the hall, and I discover with horror several strands of hair on my face have turned grey. After a few days' rest, I see Dr. Zakarian again, and he allows me to go back to work. He confirms I'll probably have difficulty walking for some time, which is a drag, but I try to make the best of it. As for my grey hair, he tells me it's a consequence of the shock I've experienced, that it's a relatively rare phenomenon, but there's no need to worry about it. I could of course dye it, but I've decided it's not that ugly and that letting nature express itself isn't necessarily a bad move. When I talked to Frank on the phone, he was very concerned. He told me he would be back and that we'd have to talk. I'm not sure how to feel about that. When I get back to school, a man in a suit is waiting for me by the classroom. He introduces himself as Mr. Mueller, National Education Inspector. He tells me he'll be following me all day, observing the way I teach. I'm a bit thrown having him sitting at the back of the classroom making notes in a precise, almost clinical way of everything I say and do. I catch him making a face when I make a parallel, perhaps a bit far-fetched to explain a very complex notion. At the end of the day, we shake hands. I feel he's not completely satisfied with what he's saying, but something tells me my job's not in any real jeopardy. Mostly I'm just relieved the ordeal is finally over. Maybe I can relax a little now. As I drive into the yard, I see Frank's van is already there. I prepare myself for a difficult conversation about our future. As I get out of the car, I see him waiting for me in the doorway. How are you? Glad to have arrived after 4 hours on the road. I'm alright. I've met your mother, a charming woman. I hope she didn't give you a hard time. I've met worse. Oh, and she told me to tell you she was retiring to her chambers and that you shouldn't wait dinner for her. Oh, okay. She warned me about your hair. How are you holding up? Oh, it's mostly the knee that bothers me, but let's not dwell on it. It's nothing to worry about. The mood changes suddenly. Frank looks at me seriously. Sorry to ambush you like this, but I came straight here for a quick stop at my apartment. We have to talk, Daphne. This month I've spent in the city has helped me put things in perspective. Besides, I saw Victor, my old friend. Yes, I remember him. He's thinking about taking over a big business at retirement. He asked me to become his business partner. So that changes my plans, and you and I need to make a decision. Of course, it's no secret that I wanted us to get back together, but with this new opportunity, I can't wait for you any longer. So here's the deal. Option 1, we're a couple, you and I say no to Victor and I move in with you. Option number 2, you don't want me or you're not ready to commit. In that case, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to give up on this opportunity. I do like that there are no options where you could just say yes. I don't know. It's a bit abrupt announcing things like this. I know that, but you also have to understand I can't stay indefinitely in this uncertain situation. What I mean is that you have to make a decision. Either you make a firm and definitive commitment to be with me, or I move back to the city. But I can't keep on indulging you, waiting for you to decide anymore. Stay with me. I'm ready. Are you sure? Are you ready to put up with me until the day you die, for better or worse? But I'm ready. Let's stay together. My internal thought is that initially I didn't know what the backstory was for the breakup, but given the context, holy shit, yeah, of course, let's try to patch things together. It's just like, yeah, the initial set of information that was provided by the game was leading me down a different path than the context was, really. Frank puts a knee to the ground and takes a small box out of his pocket. There are tears in my eyes and my heart is thumping. Daphne Delatour, will you marry me? Yes, I will. When I wake up, Frank is sleeping like a baby next to me. Just seeing him here in my bed reassures me. decide to let him sleep and I go downstairs to get some breakfast. It's going to be a busy day. After everything that's happened, Yves Malterre and Mom coming back, and in particular my renewed vows of love and fidelity with Frank, people are counting on me and I mustn't let them down. When it's time to get ready and I see myself in the mirror, I discover that my hair has now turned completely white. I have a strange feeling, a combination of deja vu and a kind of loss of spiritual equilibrium, bludgeoning by the inevitability of fate. As if all that's happened to me these last few months has been placed in my way to prepare me to embrace my inheritance. Even if in a sense, I've been trapped, I'm still grateful to have finally found a goal that transcends my own existence, and that gives meaning to the ordeals I've been through in reaching this moment. I have to get dressed and I decide it's high time my attire reflect my status as the heiress of the Delatour and my role as a spiritual guide and protector of the village. I decide to ignore my own wardrobe and take a look at my grandmother's. After all, I'm already using her walking stick. Quickly inspect the contents of her wardrobe. One half is filled with old woman clothes, things that suit neither my age nor my shape, but the other half of the cabinet is overflowing with older yet ageless garments, perfect in their elegance. I put on a long black dress that accentuates my beautiful white hair. Then I retire to the tower to have a look at the archives, their wells of wisdom waiting to deliver their secrets to me. The holiday season arrived fast. I spent it at home with Mom and the Bortines. It's much more lively at the castle now with Mom and Frank, who can't stop bickering with each other. Yves Malterre hasn't shown up, not since he came to present his offer to me when Mom got in the way of his plans. I've decided not to worry about it for the time being. I need time to get my head around everything I've learned. I spent most of my time in the tower, learning about my family's fascinating past and the history of the area. I'm glad now that I waded through several years of Latin at high school, even if I'd never have guessed it would be useful in such unlikely circumstances. The stories inside the illuminated books are quite captivating, especially everything that refers to the source and those who call it. When I showed the library to Frank, he was mainly interested in the carpentry and the ceiling. Apparently the construction is exceptionally sturdy and well maintained. And yet, against all odds, instead of being disappointed by the way the mystery was solved, he seemed quite content. He immediately understood how important this connection with my ancestors is to me, and every day he encourages me to continue studying the books inside. I still have the strange dreams, but they're different now. I'm still in the forest, but there's no more pool, no more sphinx. Perhaps because of all that has already happened. Each time the dream ends with my encounter with the strange beast, we watch each other. I feel like it's trying to tell me something, but it can't speak, as if it wanted something from me, and then it turns away and disappears into the bushes.